Hello, good morning. I've come to talk to you guys about why hydroponics is the future. My name is Samuel Parrish, and this is my presentation. Some of you might be asking, well, what the heck is hydroponics? Hydroponics is basically the process of growing without soil. So you can have a hydroponic system that uses strictly water, one that might use clay balls, so they'll use tiny little clay balls and put it in where the roots can kind of get into the water and it helps basically add stability. Or you'll even have it where they use gravel and it serves the same purpose. Hydroponics also is something that is sustainable and adaptable. Now, by adaptable, I mean it can be built practically anywhere, and by sustainable, I mean that it can be used in a way that is eco-friendly. And one of the major challenges of hydroponics, though, that people have, and some of the main critiques are that soil has a lot of nutrients that hydroponics just can't simply get, which we're going to go into that further in the video, but also that it costs a large amounts of money. So starting up a hydroponic system may cost more than it would versus growing on the ground, which we're also going to go into that further in the video. First of all, I'd like to discuss the environmental benefits of using hydroponics. One of the major benefits of using hydroponics is the reduced use of pesticides. So, because hydroponics can be put inside, it can also make it where those pests that would be outside, ranging from gophers to squirrels or whatever, can't really touch the hydroponic system, especially if they're inside. And those that are outside, you also have that protection from like gophers or even certain bugs or even snails sometimes. If it's on a raised situation, it could you can literally put hydroponics like on your wall even. There's also the prevent land degradation by using these chemicals or over farming. You don't have to worry about those things when using a hydroponic system. And without using herbicides or anything of that nature like you would in soil farming, the food that you're getting from these farms would be less covered in carcinogenic chemicals that really just aren't good to eat. And on top of that, you can grow hydroponic like plants and things of that nature in a compact space. So you could have a small shed that could produce the equivalent of 20 times that of a conventional farm. Segueing into the flexibility of hydroponics, with it being able to be built in any environment, that means any environment, from space to the Arctic regions to even the Sahara. If mankind has the determination to live in the Sahara and have apartment complexes in the Sahara, hydroponics would be the way to go to make sure you feed those people. It can survive in urban environments or indoors. So if it's in a food desert, this is one way that you can combat that. One of the major things that's also important with this flexibility is that they're drought resistant. See, as long as there's plumbing and that, or there's water coming in from plumbing or a well or anything, or even rain, you can use a hydroponic system. Like I mentioned before, with hydroponics being more productive, hydroponics can produce year round. See, if you're inside with a hydroponic system and the entire building is climate controlled, that means when there's a blizzard going on outside, the crops can still grow. You can still have those fresh strawberries you want in your supermarket if you have them growing literally down the street during an entire snowstorm. With the ability to tailor the nutrient supplements for those plants, it'll make the plants grow faster, which is something that people are concerned with using nutrient supplements versus dirt. And also on top of that, like I mentioned before, the small amount of space still can yield more than if you had large swaths of land. With the global impact is something else I would like to mention. You can build these in hard environments or extreme environments, as some people would put it. With that being said, that means that you could have a hydroponic system be off grid or rain filled in certain environments where the soil isn't good, but they're getting the right amount of rain, or They have water, but the water isn't safe to drink. Hydroponic systems can actually clean that water and make it filterable for them to drink while also providing the needs and usage for their crops. So think somewhere in like sub-Sahara Africa, this might be a solution to the water crisis and the food crisis in that situation. Now, most people are afraid of robots sometimes, but in the situation of using hydroponics versus soil farming, you can have an entire AI system set up where the AI are manage your farm for you practically, to the point where, of course, you could have some human interference and do what farmers have always done for thousands of years, and you can also do on top of that have an AI that's making sure that the food crops are getting what they need 24/7, making sure that their needs are maintained with an AI linking system, which would also make it easier to manage for people that aren't quite exactly knowledgeable on how to grow with hydroponics. There's also major impacts that hydroponics can make versus soil farming on a medical level and a communal level. With the first being on the medical side, you can have a hydroponic garden in your hospital growing medical herbs that might be able to help patients with whatever ailment they're having, and it might make it more easily accessible versus having a soil farm that's miles away. You also have on top of that the supplement to the diet for anybody in any environment, no matter if it's medical or just at home. Having a clean types of food to eat for anybody is going to help their health immensely. And on top of that, like I mentioned before with the food deserts, it's a way to combat those situations that people are in where they don't have access to good food. Some people might say that hydroponics is hard to learn, or it's expensive, or you need electricity for it to be reliable in an indoor environment, which all of those are valid, especially the one about dirt and nutrients. All of them are valid concerns that anybody should be concerned with. But unlike those concerns, there are still solutions that we can use to make sure that we don't have to worry about those challenges. So we have some solutions to those concerns that some critics may have. With the concern of it being hard to learn, first of all, there's ways to learn it with using the internet. Also, on top of that, like I mentioned before, using AI integration to make it where it's completely user friendly. And on top of that, you can use classes or books even to try to understand what's going on, or reach out to local hobbyists that have done it as well. Hydroponics also is something that people have been concerned with being expensive, like I mentioned on the slide before. This is something that, yes, of course, it may cost a little bit to start up a hydroponic farm, but in the long run, you're going to outproduce your competitors. You're going to be able to, especially if it's inside, you're going to be able to produce year round, where Farmer Dale may produce strawberries only once per season, you'll be able to produce them year round. People also say that they're concerned about soil, and soil being a vital thing for a plant. That simply is not the case, because you can tailor the nutrient supplements to fit the plant almost better because of it being completely tailored to the plant. Also, on top of that, with the reliance on electricity, you can build a hydroponic system off grid using solar panels or using a small windmill that could power the pumps and things of that nature. First of all, I want to kind of go over what we talked about how hydroponics is better for the environment because it's not using any soil and it's not taking up as much space as a regular farm, first of all, not to mention the chemicals. Also, on top of that, with it being adaptable for almost any environment, that makes it drought resistant, that makes it disease resistant, that makes it all forms of resistant pretty much, especially if it's indoors. On top of that, with it being more sustainable than soil farming, on the simple fact that that farmland that people are using could be used to grow trees, and you could have a more compact farm of hydroponics that is growing double that farmland originally did on a traditional farming scale. With that being said, It shows that hydroponics is the future of farming. Thank you. Have a good day.